A second. I am getting everything set up here, and once we get set up, we'll go ahead and get started. That'll also give some potential viewers time to hop in and get themselves settled. So, go ahead and enjoy yourselves for a moment, and I will be right in. Alright, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So, my name is Brady. You can call me Bray or Brady or that guy or whatever. Doesn't matter what you call me. I am a licensed, independently practicing therapist in the state of Ohio, over here in Hilliard, just a suburb of Columbus. I wanted to thank everyone for tuning in to what I'm going to call the Be Undisturbed series. This is going to be a reading of stoic books for your interest, your self-improvement, or your entertainment. So, here's how it works. I'm going to read a little bit from a book, and if I've got anyone watching, anyone who's interested, we're going to talk about it. I've got a Discord chat that's listed right there. Feel free to join in. There will be a voice chat at the end where I'll, ask for things to see what y'all think. Questions, answers, etc. Otherwise, feel free to shoot me a message in our Twitch lobby or in the Discord lobby. That would be the Twitch stream chat there. That should be the one that link there will bring you to. If you're not able to watch all of this, that's fine. If you're not able to tune in for future episodes, that's also fine. I'm going to be uploading all of these videos to my YouTube when I'm finished, unless someone will be willing to get me Streamlabs primed so I could stream to multiple locations. It'll automatically go straight to YouTube. Won't even have to worry about it. So, hello, here's my face. Hi. What we're going to be reading today is the manual. I have the image right up there. It's a rendition, actually, of this book, The Enchiridion, which was a compilation of sayings and thoughts from Epictetus. So some history real quick. This dude Epictetus was a slave back in the 2nd century. He was born with a limp leg, and when he was doing his living thing, he ended up getting captured and was a slave over in Rome. Yet, despite being a slave, he still came up with all these wonderful things and still has a bunch of influence even today. I don't remember how many years after the fact it is, almost 2,000 years. So this book specifically is compiled by a dude named Sam Torode, or Sam Torode. He has several other books that are modernized retellings of some of these, such as Marcus Aurelius' Meditations, which is on our list to read. Looks like some compilations from Ralph Waldo Emerson, Expansive Mental Powers, also from I can't say his name, Ralph Waldo Emerson. And then the book of Tao Te Ching, which I can add to the list at a later point if we want to. So, I'm going to go ahead and start reading. So this is the foreword that he wrote. In 2008, as the world plunged into the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression, I experienced my own collapse. Financial stress, loss of faith, and then divorce. Enduring each day became a struggle. My inner landscape, my mind, was now a war zone. Daydreaming, previously my refuge, became dangerous. My imagination could only conjure despair. I desperately needed peace of mind, and for the first time in my life I ventured into the self-help section of the bookstore and worked my way through every title. Things I'd always scoffed at, like positive thinking, affirmations, and visualization, were now of vital interest. Even the cheesiest volumes usually had something of value to take away. For instance, from Rhonda Byrne's The Power, a sequel to The Secret, a book I had often mocked, I copied down this sentence: "Every challenge is presented to you so that you will choose to love and turn away from negativity and blame." I also combed the nearby philosophy aisle, where I discovered two ancient books that proved to be the most helpful of all: the Manual of Epictetus and the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius. Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius are pillars of the Stoic school of philosophy. Stoicism doesn't mean repressing emotion and shunning pleasure, I learned, but in essence, focusing on what is in our power and letting go of everything we can't control. Stoic philosophy, I found, is at the foundation of the best modern self-help approaches such as rational emotive therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, and positive psychology. Its influence is also reflected by Rhonda Byrne's quote above. When you are feeling upset, angry, or sad, Epictetus said, don't blame another for your state of mind. Your condition is the result of your own opinions and interpretations. When anyone provokes you, remember that it is actually your own opinion provoking you. It is not the person who insults or attacks you, who torments your mind, but the view you take of those things. Do not be fooled by how things first appear. With time and greater perspective, you can regain inner peace. Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius offered practical help here and now. They showed that by changing my thoughts about a situation, I could immediately let go of pain. The way to peace of mind, they taught, was in tending the garden of my own mind, by nurturing the positives and weeding out the negatives, and disregarding disregarding people's opinions of and actions towards me. Other books that I found particularly soothing at this time were the Tao Te Ching and Ralph Waldo Emerson's Nature. I said it right that time. Yay! As a writer and a book designer by trade, I decided to create my own editions of these works. I saved the Manual and Meditations for last. Nearly 10 years after discovering the wisdom of Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, I made it a part of my daily morning routine to study a passage from an old translation of the works and rewrite it in simple, contemporary language. While I created these versions for my own use, I also am making them publicly available. If you are searching for peace of mind, I hope you benefit from the Manual and Meditations as much as I have. Sam Tarode, May 2017. So, kind of gives you a good little taste of what you're in for. I haven't read all of these yet, so some of these are going to be new as I'm reading through them. But the ones I have read through, he has done a very good job at taking them and turning them into very sensible things, as opposed to some of the old translations that may or may not be very modernized. So, on a side note, if you hear stuff in the background, I just opened up my stream so I could actually see what it looks like, get your experience, make sure everything is hunky-dory and fine. So, we're going to read through a few of these. Since no one has checked in yet, I'm just going to kind of read for the next 10 minutes, see where we are, and then after that, if we're still good, I'll keep on reading until, what time? 12:45. So, number 1. There are things that are within our power, and things that fall outside of our power. Within our power are our own opinions, aims, and desires. Our dislikes. In some, our own thoughts and actions. Outside our power are our physical characteristics, the class into which we are born, our reputation in the eyes of others, and honors and offices that may be bestowed upon us. Working within our sphere of control, we are naturally free, independent, and strong. Beyond that sphere, we are weak, limited, and dependent. If you pin your hopes on things outside your control, taking upon yourself things which rightfully belong to others, you're liable to stumble, fall, suffer, and blame both gods and men. But if you focus your attention only on what is truly your own concern and leave to others what concerns them, then you will be in charge of your interior life. No one will be able to harm or hinder you. You will blame no one and have no enemies. If you wish to have peace and contentment, release your attachment to all things outside of your control. This is the path of freedom and happiness. If you want not just peace and contentment, but power and wealth too, you may forfeit the former in seeking the latter, and you will lose your freedom and happiness along the way. Whenever distress or displeasure arises in your mind, remind yourself, this is only my interpretation, not reality itself. Then ask whether it falls within or outside your sphere of power, and if it is beyond your power, let it go. Number 1. Number 2. Desire demands the attainment of that which you desire, and aversion demands the avoidance of that which you dislike. Those who fail to attain their desires are disappointed, and those who attain what they dislike are distressed. If you avoid only those undesirable things which are within your control, you will never suffer by attaining something you detest. But if you try to avoid what you cannot control, sickness, poverty, death, you will inflict useless mental suffering upon yourself. End the habit of despising things that are not within your power, and apply your aversion to things that are within your power. As for desire, for now it is the best let me reread that, I totally fubbed that. As for desire, for now it is best to avoid it altogether. Those new to this philosophy must first secure their sphere of power, before they can discern what is worthy of desire. For if you desire things that are not within your power, you will suffer disappointment. When practical necessity demands that you desire or avoid something external, at work, for instance, act with steady deliberation, not hasty strain. So you can kind of catch a theme going on here. There are so many things we can control. There are so many things we can't control. I'm reminded a lot of the Serenity Prayer. I'm actually going to pull it up here real quick because I can't remember it right off the bat, and I want to make sure I'm doing it justice. So let's find it. The Serenity Prayer. It goes. All right, can you just give it to me? Oh my goodness, this is so tedious. Okay. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So right now, Epictetus is saying, before you do the first two, you have to have the first. You have to have the wisdom of what is in your control and what is not in your control. And he's saying those things that are in your control, that's the stuff you think. That's your opinions. That's your thoughts. The things that you do. So, in looking at everything, you can use that kind of as a beginning guide. On a side note, noticing this, my hand looks really big up here because I've got this, it's kind of a fisheye lens. It's a 120. So if things look weird, that's why. Back to the book. Number 3. What of things objects, and beings that delight your mind, are of good and practical use, or which you dearly love. Remind yourself of their true nature, beginning with the smallest trifle and working upward. If you have a favorite cup, remember that it is only a cup that you prefer. If it is broken, you can bear it. By the way, hello, watcher number 2. Welcome to the fun. If you wish to, go ahead and hop into our Everything Buddies chat there. I'll be bringing in a voice chat at the end. Feel free to send me any messages through our Twitch chat here if you want. Hope you enjoy the show. When you embrace your wife or child, remember that they are mortal beings. By accepting their nature rather than denying it, if either should die, you will find strength to bear it. So it's pretty much saying there, everyone dies. And if you try to deny that fact, and you try to take control of it, you're gonna be pretty disappointed. So, it's kind of hard with that one. Like, for little things like, okay, yeah, my favorite coffee cup or whatever, if it falls and cracks, then, okay, yeah, it's a coffee cup. I've got like 15 more upstairs. And I'm sure my in-laws have some they could give me. Or I know my grandmother has a box full of them in her basement. So, I'm set on coffee mugs. But I'm not set on like parents. I only have 2 of those. So like, when they die, that's that. And granted, our parents mean a lot more to us than our coffee cups. They also are things we're attached to. I'm trying to remember if it was Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Epicurus, Seneca, which of the Stoics said, it's a favorite mug. You'll get a new favorite mug. That's okay. So, you're in my Twitch, you're in my Discord chat. Why aren't you like in there listening to me talking there? Oh, you'd be hearing me double. That's why. Never mind. So nowadays it seems really, really tongue-in-cheek to say it's just a person. They'll die. Like, there are plenty of other people in the world. If you're thinking, I mean, I guess let's for a moment take some history lesson real quick. If you go way, way, way back to when this guy was first born. Actually, let's look at Marcus Aurelius, because I know his life a little bit better. So, he was born to his mother and father, obviously. His dad died when he was 3, though. And his mother was an aristocrat, so she was like off doing aristocratic stuff. So I think it was her mom's dad and a nanny raised him. He was going through school. Some of his teachers, I think Epicurus might have been one of his teachers. I can't remember. One of his teachers hated Stoicism. It was like, they're idiots, don't listen to them. When he finally grew up and was able to do his adulting thing, he got married. And so here's some big numbers. He had 13 kids. And I'll give you a second to guess how many of them lived to adulthood. 3. He had 3 adults, or 3 children live to adulthood. And I'll give you a chance now to guess how long his first 4 kids lived. It was 4. He had 4 kids die within the first 4 years. His first child, his daughter, lived until she was 4. In the time that she was living, they had twins that died within the first few months, and then they had a 3rd pregnancy. That kid was born, ended up dying, then his first kid died. So nowadays, if you're going through your daily life, and you probably even know people who've had kids who died, and it like you might as well have someone take a golf club to your frickin' shins and we'll make it worse, a baseball bat or a frickin' 2x4. It's like breaking your legs and knocking yourself right off the ground. Instant like depressive mood, instant PTSD, instant anxiety. The whole you should never outlive your kids. And that in itself is an expectation nowadays. Like modern technology, modern science, our good health practices. Usually if your kids die before you, there's some weird health situation going on, or kid was doing something stupid, or something stupid happened to the kid. Either way, it's like totally out of the ordinary nowadays. But back then, kids dying a lot was a common thing. That's why, like, you didn't get your name until you made it till your first birthday. So Marcus Aurelius was back there, having all these kids dying. They're just kids. Nowadays, you say they're just kids. Some mom's going to strangle your neck and some dad's going to try to shoot you. But we are just kids now, the very same way that we were just kids way back then. Yeah, our environment's a little bit different, but to the mountain, there's no difference. That same mountain that's been standing, like, think about the Rocky Mountains. Those mountains were there 2,000 years ago when Marcus Aurelius' kids were dying. And they're still here. And they don't care. The universe, to an extent, doesn't care. And you can look at it one of two ways. Either the universe doesn't care, in which case none of it matters, or the universe does care. And if the universe cares, and if there is some greater power out there, then everything that happens is okay. Because that thing, which is greater than nothing can be conceived, is looking out for you. So, that's that. And I expect, if you're listening to this, that's probably a radical idea. That's okay. Hang on to it. You don't have to accept it right now. Acceptance is a process. Being undisturbed is a process. We're hitting about 12:40. Amanda, did you want to hop in and talk about any of this, or are you just watching? I'll give you a second to respond. I need to pull that up on like a YouTube thing, something, so that way y'all, I can just smack it. Actually, let's see this. Are you in here? Are you in here? Nope, just me. Okay, so if you do want to hop in here, whoa, my phone just totally freaked out. Just hop in here at any point. We'll go ahead and talk, but otherwise I'll keep reading. Oh, hey, there you are in the chat. Hey, cool, that works. This is my first time running this too, so it's fun to see how all of this is working. Where are you at? Why is it showing? Oh, there we go. Oh, sucks to suck being at work. All right, so number 4. In preparing for any action, remind yourself of the nature of the action. For instance, if you are going to the public pool, remind yourself of the usual incidents. People splashing, some pushing, some scolding, thieves stealing unguarded personal belongings. You will not be disturbed if you go into the experience prepared for such things and determined to retain inner harmony. So, I'll say that later. If something undesirable happens, you will be able to say, my desire is not only to swim, but to remain in harmony with the nature of things. If I cannot stay in harmony if I let myself become upset by things that are beyond my control. And so it is with every act or experience. So you're going to the DMV to renew your license. What do you expect? Busyness? Lots of people? Other people moaning and groaning? If you expect it to be any different, you're probably in for a mistake or in for a bad day. If you are going through your day thinking, oh, people are going to respect me, but like you're in the grocery store on a Sunday after church, there may or may not be respect. You may be setting yourself up for failure. If you go driving on 270 and you're like, oh, people are going to follow the speed limit, totally. I was driving home from trivia night last night. I'm in the Hammer Lane and I get over and my gut reaction is, these assholes, they literally came flying around me at like 85, 90 miles an hour. And like one on my left side, one on the right side. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Now, granted, it was definitely out of the ordinary because that typically doesn't happen. But sometimes that's how it be. People do what people do. And that's that. And when you remember that, it's a lot easier to be less disturbed. Kind of like if you go to the amusement park too. You're like, man, I really want to ride Valraven. But it's the first summer it's been open and it happens for whatever reason to be the busiest day you're there. And you're waiting in line. And it's like, holy crap. I've been waiting in this line for like 3.5 hours. And you're like, well, no, I wanted to enjoy this ride. And that's waiting in line for 3.5 hours is what it's going to take. So I'm undisturbed. And I hate waiting in lines, but I really wanted to ride it. So number 5. This is actually the one that Albert Ellis based rational emotive behavioral therapy off of. So pay attention. People are not disturbed by things themselves, but by the views they take of those things. Even death itself is even death is nothing to fear in itself, or Socrates would have run from it. Hi, Jordy, back there behind me. When you are upset, angry, and sad, don't blame another for your state of mind. Your condition is the result of your own opinions and interpretations. People who are ignorant of philosophy blame others for their own misfortunes. People who are beginning to learn philosophy blame themselves. Those who have mastered philosophy blame no one. I'll give you a flashback here real quick. Well, let's see if I can move this. We men are not disturbed by things, but by the principles and notions which they form concerning things. So there's that. Let's see if I can. There we go. So that's kind of how that works. Sorry, just adjusting that real quick. So with that, I'm going to stop there because I really like that one. So I'm going to put a bookmark in here. I have to find something to use as a bookmark. Jordy, I'll use you as a bookmark. Like, meow. No, please don't. I'll use my VSP individual vision plans return thing for that. So that's that. And that's the first taste of Stoicism. So I hope that was helpful, Amanda. I hope that was fun. And anyone else who ends up watching this later on YouTube, I hope you enjoy it too. So I thank you all for tuning in. If you want to tune in for the next episode, I'm doing this every Monday and every Thursday, roughly from about 12:15 to 12:45. So grab your lunch, put on your headphones, listen to what's going on. Hopefully you'll be less disturbed for work. I know work can be very disturbing nowadays. Even previously, before coronavirus times, it was still probably a little bit disturbing here and there. So go ahead and subscribe either on here. Go ahead and subscribe on YouTube. Sign up for the alerts. Keep a record of everything. Bring in your notes. Bring a friend over. I actually challenge each of you, whoever is watching this, to bring a friend next time. Whether that's somebody who's interested, someone who needs some wisdom, someone you wish to torture with 2,000-year-old philosophy, whatever the case. So go ahead, get on the list. I look forward to seeing you guys next time, and be undisturbed this weekend.